to take as much time as I wanted to tonight, so I plan to take a lot of time tonight. I got 4 minutes and 13 seconds left. You understand that? This is yes, this is no, this is I'm sleeping, you get thrown out. Are you with me? Yes is the word. Are you with me? Yes. One equal to the other. Okay, I want to do something tonight that's probably a little unusual, but what time of the year is it? What are we celebrating? Who is the most prominent woman in the world? Thank you. So I think it's only appropriate that tonight we talk a little bit, just for the last 3 minutes and 12 seconds, you see I'm keeping time, that we bring a mom up here tonight that's been a blessing to all of us, and who would that be? Mrs. Tim, would you come up here? Come on up here, please, both of you. The clock is ticking. We don't have the time. We have to do this. You too, Ray, come on. Something for you. After all, there wouldn't be a Randy if there wasn't a Dr. Mr. Tint. Great. Now if I can get someone to come up here, anyone. Linda, would you come up here for a minute and take care of this? We just want to fet. Fet means what? Recognize. We want to recognize a mom tonight as we recognize all the moms, as we think of one mom who was such a blessing to all of us. Mrs. Tint, some years ago, had a very modest, mild, quiet, gentle, observing, obedient son. Well, that's what they told me to say. I guess Dr. Tint would disagree, and I think his dad would probably disagree. But he's here tonight, and he's going to get on the stage. We have 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. I just want to remember the moms. When we leave tonight, I hope we think of one mom and the blessing she brought. And what a blessing that every mom brings to her family. And what a blessing this mom brought to all of us tonight. So as she has this beautiful corsage, let's give her a hand for that. I think that's well-deserving. That's good. And we have something for... And when you do something like that and give recognition to a mom, then you always refer to him as the Mr. Mom. Right? No, I don't think so. But that's all right. Thank you very much, Linda. We want you folks to know that all of us, do we not all appreciate these two people tonight? Let's hear it. No. Guess what she said? Can we go now? I didn't want to say that too loud, but I want you to understand that this is not something she normally does. And if I didn't happen to talk to the boss tonight, I think, they probably wouldn't be up here. But that's okay. We just wanted to send it back with a little gift. And so if you'll all stand up and give them a round of applause, I think that's great. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Mr. Tint. Thank you, Mrs. Tint. Stay standing. We're going to bring up Randy Tint.
This is what I gave. This was part of what the introduction was today. This is what I had to use on my mother, and I gave Mr. Long one. Okay? There's an interesting little story about this, that Mr. Long's been a supporter of mine for a long, long time. And he had an episode recently where he ended up in the hospital. And he was in the hospital, and they put him through a long procedure of things. They put him on a lot of things. And how many days were you in the hospital? 3. The calcium channel blockers, the beta blockers, the whole 9 yards. He had hoses, tubes. He was in there with all the tests, laying in bed. And he realized, as I'm laying there, this is not where my head's at. I don't know how I got here. His blood pressure went sky high. His heart was out of rhythm. He was anxious. He was stressed. This is a huge problem today with people. And he looked at me, and this was the point. He said, I can't stand to see it get dark. I can't stand to have the sun go down. Now, my mother went through an episode some years ago, back in the year 2002, that I thought she was going to die on me. I was treating all these people. My mother went through a rough year. At night, her blood pressure skyrocketed. Her heart went out of rhythm. She paced the floor. She was up all night. She would run in the morning trying to get some kind of help, and she was totally a mess for 1 whole year. Her sister's sitting next to her. That's my mother and her sister. And she said to me, she said, I'm concerned about your mother. I said, I'm concerned about my mother, and I don't know what actually is going on with her health. I could not figure this out. For 1 year, my mother's blood pressure is all running around 200, 220, over 130. She never took drugs in her life, no prescriptions, no alcohol, exercises 20 minutes a day, cholesterol, triglycerides perfect. She eats better than anybody probably in this crowd. She has not made any mistakes. She was extremely upset that her body was doing this to her, living as good as she lived. February 2002, an article came out. I looked at this. I was up north, and I called my mother on one day. I said, oh my gosh, this problem is because you ran completely out of vitamin D. And today, all the people, all these pale white folks out there, you got to start to look for those. My mom, putting her on 12 Cataplex D a day saved my mother's fanny. That one pill, I told Mr. Long, 6 months before he went in the hospital, something about you concerns me. I know what happened to my mother, and he had a very similar complexion to my mother. So I checked him, and I put him on 12 Cataplex D, and in between visits, because he lives an hour or so from here, he went to a tanning booth. And he came in tanned, and I looked at him. I said, well, geez, with all this color, you don't need the sun anymore. You don't need the D anymore because you're tan. You're getting enough vitamin D. Unbeknownst to me, it was a tanning booth tan. I stopped the D. He went in the hospital for 3 days with about how many medications did they stick you with? Only 4 medications. 12 Cataplex D, and his heart went back in rhythm. His blood pressure went back. How many days? 2 or 3 days. Done. These people are all on medications. They're on lots of stuff. They can't control their blood pressure. You'll find these people on 3, 4, 5 medications, and it always happens at night. This is very, 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 very important. I've got to explain a couple things about this sun thing, because we're talking about surviving winter. Now, most people today have to go to Florida because they can't stand winter. When I get through today, I will hope to show you how to save, $250,000 on a house and, buying 3 roofs a year or something. But right now, the literature, what they told you about vitamin D has been pathetic. You get more in the sun in 1 day. How much do you think you get in the sun? They say you can't have over 2,000 milligrams a day. If you're out in the sun at the beach one day, you get 10,000 milligrams of D in the sun during a day. Mr. Long checked for 12. It's 400 IUs, and you got to use D3. I have had the hugest home runs on patients of all kinds with that one simple little pill. 12 times 400 is what? 4,800 units of vitamin D saved his life. Mom, how many do you have to take? Yes. My mother has to take 7. 7 a day, all those nighttime symptoms completely disappeared. Completely. And it took me 1 year to figure this out. I thought for sure she was going to die before I figured out why this problem did what it did. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's go on a couple things that, today, after 25 years of dealing with the public, I use lots of these kinds of things here. Mood elevators, brain chemistry, happiness in you. In March, I'm going to take you through a journey on your brain. Because today, if I've seen people about as miserable as I've ever seen them, every place you go, everybody's crabby and miserable. I have to use these things because 25 years with the public is awful tough to do. So that's March 1st. Dr. Krieger has graduated from his herbal. He has herbal degrees that I don't have. He finished his entire herbal course out of Australia. He's got some surprises for you, part 2 in February 1st. He does a great job on that. You'll learn some cool stuff. Now, what does it mean to be light deprived? Depressed mood, low energy, difficult. It's very interesting. Heart's out of the rhythm, blood pressure skyrockets. This is this is a huge problem in the north, a huge problem. Next, I got to get through this so I get to the good stuff. You have to have 2,500 lux to get, this is what my mother got for Christmas. I used the vitamin D, and she has to have full spectrum light. That's just a simple little thing. The winter blues is one thing. Seasonal affective disorder is something else. I consider these symptoms to be seasonal affective disorder. By February, I've had it with the winter. I got to start doing some D. I can lift my moods in a day. You're learning how to use vitamin D. So for the people that are going completely nuts at night, you need I want you to see how bright that thing is. It has to be that bright to give you some kind of effect with your blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera. Now, next, let's get through this. This light book's 12 to 24 inches from your face, and it's on an angle, like it's coming through the window. You got it directed at your eyes. It's very bright. Don't stare at it. You can tell when you've had enough because it'll wake you up. Heightened alertness, energy, and mood. I feel, to live my life at 48, I love the sun. Now, I know all you guys are told you got to stay out of it your whole life because it's going to kill you. They say that for every one cancer from the sun, it protects you against 30. 30 to 1. Next. How long do I have to use the light book? 15 to 60 minutes per day. I think, this says ideal exposure time is the morning. Now see, these people aren't clinicians. I am. When are we going to use it? At night. This is going to save your fanny at night. I have full spectrum lights throughout my house. I'm not one of these people, but you can tell who they are. Mr. Long looked at me. What did he say? I can't stand to see the sun go down. Very interesting. Wow. Now this is important. When we're exposed to less light, the pineal gland produces more melatonin. What does melatonin do? Put you to sleep. All this dark stuff is going to put you to sleep. That's why everybody's asleep in the wintertime, because the melatonin's so high. When the pituitary produces less TSH, the thyroid slows down. Sluggish, poor mood, weight gain, less interest in sex, a tendency to oversleep, and a number of other effects. This light thing is becoming huge. It's much bigger than you're aware of at this point. Next. I'm talking the literature. They're calling this a treatment for these, not just prevention. Vitamin D is included as a treatment for cancer. All those cancers can come just from a lack of sunlight. It's huge, staggering. Blood pressure is an incredible problem for the patients that do not get enough sun. Next. Dr. Edward Giovannucci, or whatever he is, at Harvard University, professor of medicine, says you can prevent and treat. Prevent and treat. Prevent and treat many types of cancer. Prostate, lung, skin, and colon. His research found that vitamin D prevented 30 deaths for each one caused by skin cancer. Next. I would challenge anyone to find an area or nutrient or any factor that has such consistent anti-cancer benefits as vitamin D. The data is remarkable. The statement that no sun exposure is good, I don't think is correct anymore. This came out of Henry Ford. To say that, to keep you people out of the sun for 30 years has been a disgrace. You live in the north, for Pete's sake. There isn't any sun. Unbelievable what they talked them into. Just unbelievable. Here's one of our Michigan folks. The darker your skin is, I tell my black patients, you know why all you're dying here? They said, why? I said, because there's no sun. They said, well, it doesn't do anything for me. I said, you respond more to the sun than the white people do. I could make a list of diseases that the blacks die from. High blood pressure, diabetes, breast cancer, prostate cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, colon cancer, and it's all because they reflect the sun. They need 10 times the sun I get, and I tell all my patients with darker skin, you better learn to use vitamin D because you will die in this environment. You will die in this environment. It looks like he was beached here, doesn't it? Next. Next. The darker the skin, the higher the blood pressure. The darker the skin, the higher the blood pressure. Nobody is paying attention to this because they told you vitamin D is toxic and stay out of the sun. You are dying daily from this. Daily. The sun has an inhibiting effect on certain cancers. Again, we would expect to find more cancer among darker-skinned people living in the United States. 20% more dark-skinned people die of cancer than do their light-skinned contemporaries. Sunlight seems to play an important role in preventing and curing infections. The literature about all the therapies, the tuberculosis centers, the Russians are having a blast using sunlight. It's cheap, it's free, and it's easy. The incidence of death from flu and pneumonia is almost double that of light-skinned people. Infections are killed by the sun. Sunlight lowers blood sugar. There are twice as many deaths from diabetes among dark-skinned people. Next. The Russians are using sunlight to lower blood pressure. There appears to be a sensitivity factor to the effect of the sun based on the need. Patients with the high blood pressure have a drop in blood pressure 2.5 times that of normal pressure. Now, I hate to put this young lady on the spot, but I'm going to have to. I want you up here, please. I want you to see this youngster as a... Now, her dad had a complete misdiagnosed disaster. They gave him the MS or stroke diagnosis. I'll get to him. MS or stroke, MS or stroke. See the color of this gorgeous girl's skin? Her father comes to see me. What's your dad's blood pressure at its best? 200 over what?
110.
200 over 110. She's Puerto Rican. So her dad comes in, his blood pressure's a mess. This is perfect. I said, you know why your blood pressure's so high? He said, why? I said, because I'm Puerto Rican. He said, what does that have to do with it? I said, this is Detroit. This ain't Puerto Rico. He said, I'm going to my brother's. I'm going to go visit my brother for 3 weeks. What did I tell your dad to do? Lay in the sun. You know what his blood pressure is in Puerto Rico? 140 over 70. Done. 140 over 70. Gets off the plane, 200 over 100. That's it. Correct? Joe, if you don't learn how do you get your vitamin D, you'll die. And it's terrible. It's an incredible problem. Thank you for... I want to see how gorgeous her skin color is, and that's those people got to push the sun. You are right. Yeah, I have it written on here. Camille's actually written down here. I've seen people, 40 millimeter drops up that high lasted for 5 or 6 hours. Putting them in the sun one time, they got to a 40 millimeter drop. Next. Now, you got to stay out of the sun because it's going to kill you. That's what they told you. Well, there's something in your blood called squalene. Squalene. Vitamin D and cholesterol are derived from a substance called squalene. Squalene. If you're in the sun, it turns to vitamin D. If you're not in the sun, it turns to cholesterol. So by hiding from the sun, they drove your cholesterol levels up pathetically, obviously. Then they put you on Lipitor to ruin your liver and have other things happen so you ache head to toe, and that's a whole other story I can't believe. That, it's either cholesterol or vitamin D. You get to pick. Get in the sun, it's vitamin D. Stay out of the sun, it will be cholesterol. The human body can manufacture its own cholesterol from fats, oils, sugar, and even protein. Biochemists classify cholesterol as a member of the steroid family. Steroid family, cholesterol? You guys like to think you're pretty tough, eh? Well, testosterone comes from your cholesterol, so you enjoy lowering your cholesterol and see how happy other members of your family might be. Members of this family include cortisone, sex hormones, vitamin D, and cholesterol. If you expose them to sunlight, it will be easily changed to vitamin D and thereby made harmless to the body. Very important. I got to get through this because I got to talk about this one thing so I can get to this. Rays of the sun. Into the electromagnetic spectrum, just some interesting stuff. That's fascinating. That's a fascinating thing to study. That's Nikola Tesla stuff. You learn electromagnetic frequencies, you'll learn what that guy was monkeying with. Next. Ultraviolet light improves your electrocardiogram, lowers blood pressure, lowers resting heart rate, raises cardiac output, lowers blood cholesterol, lowers blood sugar, increases sex hormones, oxygen carrying capacity. Incredible. Stay out of the sun. It's criminal what they told. Next. Here you go. Colon cancer. The farther north you get, the higher the latitude, the more the deaths. Totally longitude and latitudinally related. Next. The lowest is Guatemala, 0.5. Latitude 15 degrees, 0.5. Next. Breast cancer. Highest in the northern climates, 26.9 per 100,000. Next. Guatemala, 2.3 per 100,000. That much difference just from the sun. Next. Full spectrum lights, they took the soldiers, calcium absorption raised 15%. You put them under regular lights, calcium absorption dropped 25% with the same diet. Next. See this little girl? That's rickets. They put her in the sun. 18 months later, that's what she looks like with rickets, just from sticking her in the sun. Next. Now, sunlight and skin cancer types. A lot of people get these lectures out and read them and look at them. So I'm not going to go through all this, but it talks about the Europeans, the Celtics, where you come from, how long you burn, different person, different body styles. People from China, Japan, and Mediterranean tan much more easily, but they can also burn. It tells you how many minutes your nationality might have. I don't want to do all that stuff today. Eye color is a good sensitivity of that. Tells you who will tan. Next. People from India, South America, and Arabia tan well and rarely burn. Good. Most people with brown to black skin can spend long periods in the sun with little risk of burning. Sunlight does not readily penetrate or damage dark skin because the high melanin content filters out most of its ultraviolet component. It's tough to get enough sun when your skin's dark. That's why using the right vitamin D will save your life. This thing. Okay, good. I had to get through that because they talk about some vitamin D stuff.
Quick question, Dr. P.
Yes.
Can you get any sun when you've got a hat on, your coat on, nothing, your hands are covered, everything's covered? Can you get any sun?
No. And they'll tell you, 15 minutes a day is enough. That's ridiculous. You give me 15 minutes of sun, I know I was in the sun. You give me a whole day in the sun, I feel great. I don't know, how many people feel great in the sun? Can you believe anybody told you to stay out of it? How many people feel good in a basement? So all right. Please, Lord, I want you to pay close attention. I put this up before. Please save me stupid questions at work. Please save me stupid questions. After 25 years, how many people want me to keep doing this? A few? Yeah, well, you got to keep the stupid questions to a minimum. Because your doctor just laughs at you and goes, "Huh, what medical school did you go to?" I don't pull that stunt, but you've had it done on you. U.S. researchers attempted to quantify the number of lives that have been saved by flu vaccines. They've come up with a disappointing number, something close to 0. Okay. That's published in the Archives of Internal Medicine, 2005. That's a published journal. That's a peer-reviewed journal. I got a special one. I got this lovely little milquetoast lady named Carolyn. Blonde hair, 58 years old, 60 years old, just a nice little lady. Little milquetoast, she's sweet, she's kind, she's just the salt of the earth. After about 1 million rounds of antibiotics over her lifetime, she goes into leukemia. So she's got leukemia, and the doctors did a good job putting it in remission, so it's in remission. She comes in, I had to kind of keep some things together while they were trying to roast her, and everything worked out good. We all merged in a healthy person. Oh, about 5 weeks ago, she's in, and she's just a milquetoast. You understand this, you folks are getting whacked at our milquetoast. And she said to me, Dr. Kent, should I get a flu shot? I said, no, I don't want you to get a flu shot, because if you already got a virus in your body causing this leukemia, you don't need another one on top of it. So her kids were in Thursday night, last Thursday, and she looked at me and she said, my mom's out of remission. I looked at her, I said, did she get that flu shot? Yeah, she did. How long to go out of remission? 2 weeks, done. Back in leukemia. That's the last patient that was in remission from leukemia. Gina Cavender. Any of the Glitz girls here? Gina's father. What happened to Gina's father? Has leukemia, in perfect remission. They talked him into a flu shot. They buried him the 30th day after the flu shot, in perfect remission. I've watched this with my own eyeballs. Put a virus on top of a virus, you got your hands full. Next. Over the past 40 years, the drug industry has produced 4 major antiviral drugs to combat the flu: amantadine, Zamifir, and Tamiflu. And resistance to all 4 is regularly reported. That's the Lancet, and the Journals of Infectious Chemotherapy, whatever that means. The hope, therefore, that any one of these can combat a virus that has not even crossed over into humans is futile. Futile. This is published journals. And yet, Tamiflu is consistently promoted as the main weapon against the H5N1 virus. The U.S. government placed an order for 20 million doses at a cost of $2 billion. That's up to $7 billion now, by the way. $7 billion. While the UK government is ordering 14.6 million doses, even though America's advisors at the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia, have gone on record stating that there is no vaccine to protect people against this bird flu. There's no vaccine. Forget it. Next. Tamiflu, an antiviral, lessens flu symptoms and also may prevent the flu. While never tested in humans against the bird flu, now Tamiflu, this is idiot logic. But it goes by people today because I don't want to finish that sentence. Tamiflu is considered the best available defense because of the lack of a bird flu. Since we don't have a bird flu, we have to use this. But this doesn't do anything for the bird flu. Okay. Gilead Sciences. This is an interesting term. Gilead Sciences. All right. Next. Perhaps the most insidious of all problems with flu shots is their mercury content. A flu shot contains 25 micrograms of mercury, and 1 is considered toxic. Uh-oh. Next. Hugh Freudenberg is the world's leading immunologist. His literature, and this is all over the literature, says between 1970 and 1980, if you've had 5 consecutive flu shots, you have 10 times the odds of getting Alzheimer's disease as a person who has had 2 flu shots or less. This is the world's leading immunologist. This ain't no dummy. Next. The Bush administration plan, however, has called for billions to be spent on building stockpiles of an antiviral drug, although neither has been proven to be effective. Okay? Next. Tamiflu is produced by Hoffmann La Roche, the pharmaceutical giant based in Basel, Switzerland. The patent, however, is owned by Gilead Sciences of Foster City, California, and is protected until 2016. Blank was chairman of Gilead before he became Blank in January 2001. There's 2 blanks here. Blank started this, and he used to be president of Blank. Okay? Next. Who is this chairman? Next. Rumsfeld. Yes! There you go, guys. Another one. Halliburton got his change. Kellogg, Brown and Root got their change. Rumsfeld's got his change. Silverado Savings and Loan, Bush's change. They're done. It's been a complete coup, a complete sweep. That's the chairman of the board for the last 12 years, and he gets to pick up the $7 billion check as soon as he's done. That's all he's got to do. It's over and done. That's what they're cramming down your throat. Don't even ask me these idiotic questions. This is all in the paper. In the paper. You could read this. This is no secret sources. Amazing. Is he the torture guy or is it the other one? The other guy wants to torture. Just got to keep track who's torturing. Now, next. Antiviral supplements. You know why they're afraid of viruses? Because all they have is antibiotics. If all I had was an antibiotic, I might be afraid of a virus too. But I don't have antibiotics because they don't work on viruses. You'll find that out. Next. Echinacea primum, if you get stuck, these are pharmaceutical grade herbs that will kill the bird flu. Next. Leprosy, 93%. Hepatitis, 83%. Dysentery, typhoid fever. This is what the Europeans use. They're not afraid of these kind of things. The herbs kill this stuff just the same as it kills anything else. Antigrapholides. Next. All in the literature. They'll use this for everything from malaria, and this will whack most all of these. Let me see where I'm at here. Next. To build up your immune system, astragalus is the long-term herb. So you herbal people, that's the one you use to build your immune system up in 3 months, not today. And when you're sick, you stop at astragalus. That's a pill. I take 1 or 2 astragalus a day. I'm building up my immune system because the pediatrician tried to kill me 15 different ways. Shots that he gave me, I just had more shots than I care to count. My kids have never seen one. That's like I'm getting my hair cut in Northville. And this lady's a very pleasant gal, and she says, well, what do you think of the bird flu? I looked at her and said, well, you know, my kids have never had any shots, let alone the bird flu thing. And she looked at me and she said, really? She said, how do you get them in school? I said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I got to poison them to teach them that we came from a monkey? I said, is that true? I said, to me, that's a double negative. Now we lost one and we lost the other. I said, number one, my kids don't think it came from a monkey and they never had a shot. I'm 2 things ahead of you. You know, I'll let him remain anonymous, but I see the judge out there, the judge of Novi, the head judge, congratulations. His brother comes down to see me from Traverse City. 195 over 125 in Traverse City, blood pressure. Gets off the plane in Florida, 120 over 180 in Florida. Gets off the plane in Petoskey, 195 over 125. It's that simple. And I have the judge here to tell you that's exactly what his brother's blood pressure does. And all those people that have that blood pressure, that take the pills, feel sick because it's not a blood pressure problem. So you ask him, he's an attorney, why don't you take the pills? They make me sick. I'd rather croak with this blood pressure and take those pills. It makes them feel that bad when they need sun. Citracetal, that little grapefruit seed, come on. That can't be that good, can it? That citracetal stuff, you think that can work that well? Grapefruit seed? Grapefruit seed? Georgia, what did citracetal kill on your daughter before and after her test? What disappeared on a confirmed blood test with your daughter? Lyme's disease. And you know how much she bought 2 bottles of citracetal? Was it 3 to do this? Maybe 3? 3 bottles? What's citracetal cost? How much? $9. She was paying $27,000 a month to be treated in New York by John Diamond. It took 3 bottles at $9 a bottle to have her test negative for Lyme's. 3 bottles, $9 a bottle. $27,000 a month. That's pretty good cheese. That was going on for a couple of years. That was headed for. Amazing. Okay, next. Now pay close attention to this. This is extremely important. I'm standing in the backyard, bouncing on my trampoline for my exercise. One of my kids' friends comes over. The dad drops him off. I got to watch this story because this mom's going to want to shoot me. She still wants to shoot me. I didn't even know me, she wants to shoot me. She's a pharmaceutical rep. So, this guy comes over and I said, blank. They're in the middle of their life. This is a second marriage. She just had her first kid at like 46. When you have a first kid at 46 and you're a pharmaceutical rep, I'll guarantee you'll poison that kid till the day he dies. I mean, you'll just smoke him. It's just, I'm telling you, been here too long, watched it. Give me an aggressive nurse with a little baby who can't fight back, he's finished. Just finished. Give me a passive husband and an aggressive nurse. My God, he'll have 16 scans, he'll have 2 brain scans, 3 biopsies, he'll be on 6 pills, he'll be vaccinated, he'll just be the shell of the man he used to be. 25 years in practice, 50,000 patients, I can say this. Very simple. So I'm standing in the backyard, this guy comes up, I said, blank, how's your baby doing? He said, well, he's got tremors. The kid's got tremors now. Tremors? I said, you got to be kidding, tremors? I said, how old is he, 10 months? On 50,000 patients, I've had a few kids come in with tremors. They were always asthmatics, they were always on inhalers, and they were always on too much. Simple. Albuterol, they call Larry Parkinson's. We stopped the albuterol, the Parkinson's disappeared. I've seen the babies just sit there and shake. How many inhalers you got them on? Oh, about 4. Yeah, I could tell. Just his arms stuck straight, tremoring, just sitting there shaking in a bassinet. Just shaking. I think you're hitting them a little too hard there. So I'm standing back there. I have 2 different people. Randy Tent is one. That's the person I prefer 100 times. Dr. Tent is this thing I have to do, which is just I'm totally sick of. And so I'm in my civilian headspace, and I'm standing there. Well, what did the pediatrician say? He said, well, he was born premature. Well, that's interesting. So I'm still thinking. I got my brain shut off. He said, what do you do for premature kids? I'd put them on some DHA, use some essential fats to help finish that brain development. Okay, so I'm sitting there. He gets in the car and leaves. His kid's standing, that plays with my kids. He's standing, I'm sitting there. I go back into what I do. I turn my brain back on. I said, all right, Dad's gone. I said, all right, we're going to get to the bottom of this. My job, I don't care if you folks throw all your stuff in the toilet, everything. My job is to figure it out. I do not get emotionally tied up with your health. I can't. I'll snap. The guy that taught me snapped. He was snapped for 2 years. So my job, so what did the kid, I don't care what the kid did. I had to figure this out. Once I figured it out, this was a touchdown. So, okay, Dad's gone, kid's in the backyard. What'd you do? What was wrong with that kid? That kid had a problem, didn't he? I said, did he spit up a lot? She goes, yeah, he spit up all the time. What did the pharmaceutical rep do to your kid? She said, well, she put him on Prilosec. Got it. Yes. Okay, the liver's been interfered with. Right there, you just took that pill and crammed it in the liver, now it's done. Wellinger might have took that. The drunk driving dude, that's the pill he could have took. Real easy to be that drunk in the middle of the day. He took one of those 3. And the judge is here, and I told Judge, when you talk to Judge Brady, who's handling that case, you better ask him what happened. The first question you ask when that guy walks in, what drug did you take that day? Because I'll guarantee you he took, you don't blow a 4 or 3 at noon. You can't blow a 4 or 3 at night. So you took Prilosec. How long did you take it for? 5 months. I got it. I said, that's it. Does that make you shake? No. That blocked up his liver. I said, what happened to that house while that kid was taking Prilosec? Oh, that's easy. What happened? The sewer backed up in the basement. I said, what'd you do? We brought in a company to sterilize the chemicals, chemically sterilize the basement. I said, what'd it smell like? He said, Dr. Tent, I live on the 2nd floor in the corner. I could smell that junk in the air for a month straight, all night trying to sleep. Who shook? The kid whose liver was interfered with, done. He shakes just like Muhammad Ali, and the mother caused the whole thing with that Prilosec. Boom, done. Forget thinking about a kid. I got to teach all these doctors today, erase this young, old stuff. Forget this baby stuff. Think about a kid. What happened to this kid? If I had an adult, I'd ask him those questions. How many chemicals? We got to get to the chemical thing. That was a hit. Antidepressants, antihistamines, and antacids. You all love your GERD stuff. You all love your Claritin stuff. You all love all this stuff because you all take Singular, Claritin, Advair. I don't even know what it does. I don't even know what it does. Dries your nose up for a couple of hours and it runs again. What are you drying up? And where's it going? Unbelievable. You don't know how many of these I have to look at in your files. It makes me sick. You're setting the stage to look like the people in Florida. They're all on GERD medication. They all spray their house for bugs, and not one of them can stand still. This is an epidemic happening. Muhammad Ali doesn't have Parkinson's. They sprayed his house too much. He has Bugginsons. Next. I am not kidding. Detroit News. I hope you're reading this because this is some serious stuff. It talked about water. I like this question from you guys. This is one of my favorite ones. Geez, Dr. Tent, you've adjusted me twice. How come I can't hold this? I've taken a half a bottle of pills. Why am I still sick? I don't know why you're still sick. Let's see what's going down. Let's see what's going down the pipe. I'd like to know what's going down your pipe. This is a special one. The Detroit wastewater treatment plant is able to handle 1.5 billion gallons of sewage and stormwater daily. Every once in a while, it can become so overwhelmed that it's forced to discharge inadequately treated water straight into the Detroit and Rouge River. The sewage goes straight into the river when it gets overwhelmed. This is good. The mix of sewage and stormwater eventually ends up in the Great Lakes, taking with it bacteria, viruses, parasites, as well as pollutants such as motor oil and pesticides, and what they call floatables, condoms, baby diapers, sanitary napkins, and plastic bottles. This is what is filling up the Great Lakes. Next. In May 2004, in what they called one of the worst releases of sewage into the lakes in recent times, Milwaukee dumped 4 billion gallons into Lake Michigan over a few days, creating an enormous slick of used condoms. Drink up. Drink up. Water filter? I don't need a water filter. It's good out of my faucet. A little sticky in there, ain't it? Just a little? Ugh. No, I don't know how you got sick. I don't know even. I can't even imagine. Couldn't even think. And if you don't have enough chemicals, I know you're going to take some extra ones in the morning when you get up. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. Lots happened in the last 6 months that I did a lecture. How long could half of you folks carry everything you own over your head in waist-deep water? How far can you go? How far can you do it? How long are you going to live without food? Can you get there? Can you walk that far? These people, to watch these people slug through waist-deep water, carrying their stuff to go to a place that nobody's prepared for, and we're still taking care of the tsunami dudes and everybody over there, and I'm watching this stuff. Holy Toledo. You better get in shape, folks. I'm going to tell you, you better get in shape. I'm ordering you to get in shape because nobody gives a crap about you out there. And they just let you sit there and drown. So if you want to sit there, get big, live on pills with your oxygen tanks and drag all your stuff behind you, have fun. Because when one day, if you get in one of them crises, can you get down the stairs at the Trade Center? I don't know. I want to make sure. You got the bad knee, you got to use your inhaler, you got to limp 3 times, you're in poor shape. It could come back to haunt you at the worst time. I felt bad for those people walking around. They looked horrible. Heavy, overweight, flat-footed, slugging along, dragging their stuff behind them. Holy Toledo. Is that, me? You better be in shape today. Your health care costs or your things have disappeared. No one's going to buy all your prescriptions anymore. It bankrupted the country. Your pension's questionable. You have to be healthy to survive this life today. Because you sick people waiting for somebody to take care of you, it's done. They ran out of money. It's over. It's all over. I'm serious. It's over. The train stopped. Next. Well, I guess this is a bad thing. The kids' antidepressants are dropping ever since they put suicide warnings on the bottles. So it just ain't selling like it used to. I don't know why. I've been trying to figure this one out. I'm still thinking about this. I imagine eventually we'll understand that, but okay. I guess that's okay, but suicide warnings on, those are the kind of things Bin Laden used to talk about in his letters. You put kids on stuff to do that, and you put your adults. You ever read what his letter says, you'd think he spent some time here watching this nonsense continue to go on. I'm amazed. Next. What do you do when you make $100 billion off poor people and you cut your pension costs down? You give them phony flu shots. Yes. So ExxonMobil employees, after $100 billion pilferage of us, man, Texans are making money, aren't they? Do you realize they made more money than all the countries on the earth except for 25? They made more money than New Zealand in a quarter. In a quarter. Talk about taking us to the bank, right to the bank. They fake flu shots. What was in the flu shots? Who knows? Who knows? I don't want the regular flu shot. I can't imagine what a fake one's like. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's going to keep that pension cost way down in the future. Not a bad retirement plan. How come Ford never thought of that, Dad? That's pretty good. Mr. Krieger, I don't know. Hey, congratulations on surviving and taking off. Next. I have some big executives here from the car companies. And there's a little secret out there they don't know about. I'll tell you about when I watched everybody scrambling in little electric, little Toyota things running around, which looked like great cars, but I don't want to admit that. Does anybody know what it's like to drive an electric car? Anybody out here? What's it like? Yep. You know why you're smoothing along there? You know what it's doing to you? That's like driving a microwave. If you had any clue how high the EMF field is in those electric cars, you have no clue. You have no clue. You're getting cooked the whole time you're driving. Cooked. Cooked. I had a guy from GM tell me, I can't tell you how bad it is because I got to retire in 9 months. He said, talk to me when I retire. And he said, I'll tell you. It's that bad. I'm going to get one of these cars from somebody. Pardon? Now, that's not this. A hybrid's half of that. Okay, those new hybrids, that's a good question. Hybrid's half of that. That's a totally electric car as a microwave. The hybrid's about half of that. In probably a year, I'm going to do a lecture on electricity, electromagnetic pollution. I'm doing my little research now to find out what's going on with this. I'll tell you, we've been doing a little stuff around the house. What was the worst thing in the house? This is my lovely wife here. Pardon? A low EMF hair dryer from Sharper Image. What's that? That's a chi hair dryer, if that means squat to the men. Men don't know anything about this. You blow it, if it blows, the hair's dry. It's a chi hair dryer? I should have known that. It's a chi hair dryer. A chai or a chi. Anyway, I had her standing in the kitchen with my little EMF meter. I could light that meter up. Oh, gosh. That from this side of the stage to the other, pointing at that hair dryer. Them hair dryers are nasty. Now, them electric shavers on you guys, holy Toledo. Those are just whining EMF all over you. You get used to using that a lot. That's a problem. Electric cars. How am I doing? Good. Okay. I'm going to get to I got some outstanding stories for you. I had to get through this stuff so I can get on to my other stuff. Now, Kelly went and did this iodine patch test. We're talking about how to survive winter. I have a normal thyroid panel. You run my thyroid, I'm fine. I put my blood work up here for you before, it's fine. I'm a colder guy. I'm colder. I like to be warmer. So, one of the little things I'll tell you about, try a tincture of iodine. Go to the pharmacy, purchase tincture of iodine before going to bed, paint some stuff, follow these instructions, 3-inch by 3-inch square patch of iodine on the inside of the forearm or the thigh of the abdomen. In the morning, take a look. No color left at all, If there's no color, the remaining on your skin, the test is complete. You are iodine deficient. It'll absorb all of it. If the color's still there, just like when you applied it, your thyroid's, it tells you how much iodine you need. How did yours do? Kelly said it was half gone. Simple little test to run at home. Next. The thyroid test. Great thing. Shake down your thermometer. Put it on your nightstand. Wake up in the morning. Take your temperature under your arm. And don't go to the bathroom. Take your temperature first before you get up. Normal is 97.8 to 98.2. Under that is thyroid problems. Under that. Next. Write it down. Bring it in. I'm going to make it simple for you. You know, it took me a lot of years in practice to start to realize things just aren't like they seem. It's not like they seem. I always thought that thyroid was that big complicated thing that is just went on forever and ever, and these guys have just, it ain't that complicated. For Pete's sakes, they've overdid everything today. Next. I took 4 of those this morning. Raw thyroid. I take 4. My testing, my thyroid works at 40 to 50%. I can take my 4 thyrotropin, my testing, I'll come up to about 90%. I'm warm, awake, and alert. That's one of the things like, do I have a bad thyroid? No. But 40% of you out there have bad thyroids. 10% of you are clinical. 40% are subclinical. That's 1 out of 2 of you right there. And that's half this crowd is hypothyroid. Why? The Midwest has no iodine, and the fluoride shuts your thyroid off, period. Fluoride is a total thyroid poison. Your fluoridated toothpaste, your fluoride in the water, shut your thyroid down. Went on a vacation, Reykjavik, Iceland. They would not allow fluoridation because they all gained 25% of their weight in 2 years. Fluoride was removed from Iceland because everybody got fat drinking the water. Overactive thyroid, underactive, Cataplex F tablets. That pill right there got me into the National Hockey League. That simple. One patient, years ago, 15 years, Dan Kessa. The Vipers asked me to fix this guy because nobody could fix him. I fixed him, brought him up. He said, "Can you test me?" He looked like Huckleberry Hound. Big, you know, the big tired guy, huh? Which way did they go? Which way did they go? So I looked at him. I said, "You want to be a better hockey player?" He said, "Yes, I do." I put him on 8 Cataplex F tablets a day. It's the essential fatty acids and iodine. That's it. 2 weeks, he gets 12 goals in 2 weeks. Now I got the president of the team on the phone in the middle of a day. And this is the guy from the Vipers. It was Rick Dudley. And Rick's on the phone. "Hi, this is Rick Dudley. I'm the president of the Vipers. What'd you do to Dan Kessa?" I said, "What's the matter with him?" He said, "What'd you do to Dan Kessa?" Well, I said, "What, is he dead?" She said, "No." He said, "I never seen him score goals like this, and you did something to him." I said, "Well, I fixed his thyroid." I said, "How many players you got in the team?" He said, 25. I said, "You probably got 5 or 6 of those on your team." He said, "Get down here immediately and find the rest of them. Here's tickets, here's a parking pass, we'll be waiting for you." That's how it started, that one pill. Now, this pill works very well, but I get a little nauseous on that. I do this in the winter. I'm fine in the summer. I'm warm enough. I'm that subclinical thyroid person. All the fluoride treatments and the fluoride junk and all the poison just shut it down. 4 of those makes me feel pretty good, and I took 4 this morning. I get up, take all 4. I want to wake up in the shower so I can come in here and get tortured by the public. It's very hard to be tortured when you're tired. You have to be tortured awake. You think I'm kidding, too. I'm dead serious. Ask my wife what it's like when I go home. Next. Hypothyroid symptom, increase in weight. You think? How about that Ethan Allen? What are you going to do when the boat goes over? How much meat did they slick on that boat? I don't mean to make any, I'm not making a joke of this, but for Pete's sakes, you can't get 30 feet to the shore? It's 30 feet. Swim, float, dog paddle, do something. You just don't go down with the boat. My ma could get there. I know she could. My dad, I don't know about you. My ma'd get there in a second. She'd have been there like nothing. For Pete's sake, just don't stand there and go down, kick your shoes off, and go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We've gone on Chip. Anybody, I don't know, is the chairman of the Nomads here? Lou, are you out there somewhere? He was watching the chairman of the Nomads. Anybody know what the Nomads travel group is? You've heard of the Nomads. Well, the chairman of the board's a patient of mine. He was listening to one of my tapes. Was that my group you're talking about? Oh, we stopped at a bus. We're in Jamaica. Me and Sue and the kids were at the back of the bus. They stopped for a 10-minute pee break. I looked at Sue and said, these people can't get off the bus in 10 minutes. We're going to have to pee in the back. Watch him at Bill Knapp's. When there used to be a Bill Knapp's, try to stand up. Here he goes. He's going to stand. Just watch him. Rocks back and forth 6 times. What do they do to the old people? You're not supposed to be like that. Go to Iceland and take a look at these people. Leave this area. Go what the other countries look like. They're not this broke down. I'm just amazed that this is half of you people in this crowd right there. I get that fatigue, you know, all this kind of stuff, just a little bit. I got it. It makes me more initiative. I need to push myself to handle this stuff. Next. That's one of the thyroid things that I can use. Next. Now, well, I wanted to prove a point to the staff last year. Everybody's complaining about being cold up in the front. So I walked up, I took a bottle of Therafood, I put it in the front, I opened it up and sat it right down there. I said, you sit this right here. I said, I want all you people, when you come in, take one in the morning. When you leave, take one when you leave. One in the morning and one at night. I had them so hot in 2 weeks. I wanted to prove to you, all my life, I was a cold dude, okay? I remember my parents had a pool, and I'm telling you, my whole life, here's everybody in the pool. Here's me. My entire life. I'm cold. Remember that? I was always cold. Go to the doctor. All he wanted to do was cram a curling iron up my nose, give me an allergy shot, give me a vaccination, and bring the other. I had so many shots, but as Yahoo, he'd bring all the other kids from the other rooms and watch this guy get poisoned. He's been poisoned so much, he takes it pretty good. They'd bring all the kids in, pump an allergy shot into my arm. My arm was swelled about this big. I was a pitcher. So I had to get it in this arm so I could pitch, because I couldn't even lift my arm after the shot. That went on for 2 years. I thanked him for whatever all that crap was he put in my body. So one day, I'm 23 years old. I'm at a doctor's seminar. Dr. Versendal tests me and goes, you're anemic. My blood test looks pretty good. He said, I don't care what your blood test says. You're anemic. What does that have to do with anything? He said, there's a million things in your blood. They check for one. You're anemic. Took my Therafood. Oh, my gosh. I warmed up. I'm a warm person now. I'm warm. Lou was surprised. In the office, he said, geez, I'm awful. 2 weeks, warm. One a day through the winter, I'm warm. I'm a cold dude. Always cold. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. How well I warmed up. Changed my entire physique. I'm warm. Take your chlorophyll pearls with it. You want to take your chlorophyll pearls with it. That's pretty cool. And that's very important. And I said, I'm not anemic, but I must be anemic. And he said, there's a million things in your blood. They only check for one. I never forgot that. Next. This is mine. This is not yours. This is what I do. See how much color's in my face? That's the guy that puts D. You watch, you take the D, you'll get this much color in your face. I remember when I started taking it last winter, people said, I thought you went skiing this weekend. I did. You look like you were in Acapulco. I said, that's the D. The D gives you this kind of color. That's all it was. That's what I took this morning. 741. I'm awake, I'm functioning, and I'm using that for some little bone spurs from some old injuries, too. Next, pioneers of sunlight as therapy. This guy healed everybody's wounds back in those. Huge, huge people that worked with the sun as principal forms of therapy. Principal forms of therapy. Next. Anybody get the National Geographic? Get the National. I know there's a lot of words in it, not too many pictures, but I want to make sure somebody gets this. It's not like you know what the average age of the kids that read the newspaper is today? What is it? 55. Newspaper people are scared. Nobody reads the paper. None of the kids do. Not a lick. Not a lick. No clue what's going on. No clue. It's amazing. Talk to them in the office. They're pretty puzzled. They know we're snowboarding or something, but this is what they said. These people lived the longest on the earth. The Sardinians, the Italians, the Japanese, the Okinawans, and the Adventists. The whole journal was on this, National Geographic. And out of that group, it was the Adventists that won. They did live the longest out of everybody. Let's see. Next. They found it 4 to 10 years longer. Adventists, beans, soy, milk, tomatoes, fruits, whole bread, nuts, water, avoiding unclean meat, reduce the risk of heart disease. Look, you know, I know a lot of people understand this. Do you know what unclean meat is? Yeah, there ain't any clean meat anymore, but the real unclean stuff, you can't do the pig thing. Don't eat your pig stuff. There's a reason he told you not to eat it. It's disgusting. You don't, I would love to do the sausage bacon thing. I could handle that stuff. It's disgusting. You should see the deer sausage I brought home. Oh, jeez. We'll figure out what's in that 20 years from now. Next. Super Dave. Who's Super Dave? Does anybody know who Super Dave is? Super Dave. Dave is a family friend. He works with the kids a lot. He's one of their teachers. Dave told me a story about his brother that was disgusting. Disgusting. So I'm going to have Super Dave come up here, a story about his brother. Now you tell me how bad. This is where we're at today. This is why I have fun with the police officers and the narcotics cops and the drug cops. I get to see some of those guys, and it's kind of interesting. Some of the things that have happened in their family from the doctors while they're arresting the kids. Amazing how that's kind of work. You arrest these kids, your kid has the little vaccine problems, that kind of the gift that keeps on giving. Come on up here, Super Dave. Super Dave has a brother. Super Dave's brother, unfortunately, is a heroin addict. A heroin addict. So he wants to get off his heroin. He's had enough of this. So he goes to the doctor. Dad tells his dad, I'm a heroin addict. I got to get off this stuff. I'm done. Dad takes him to the doctor. This is good. This is the Three Stooges are running the show. Takes him to the doctor. Doctor puts him on. Do you know what the name of the pill is?
I think it was called One Axle.
I would know what. One Axle?
I think that's what it was called.
Okay. Now he takes all this kind of stuff. He gets off the, he's off the heroin thing now. He's off. Now he goes back to the doctor and says, okay, I'm off the heroin. That's cool. What's the next step? What did the doctor say to him? Listen to what the next step is.
No one's gotten off this medication since we've ever put people on it.
They got him addicted to a drug worse than heroin, and they said, and you'll never get off this one. This is 10 times harder than heroin. Yes. So instead of getting illegal drugs, now he's a legal drug addict, so everything's fine now. As long as you're a legal addict, you're in the game. Rush Limbaugh, you think you can do what Rush Limbaugh did and walk away? Come on. Anybody out there? Name one person that can pull that stunt and walk away. 30 Oxycontin a day? Woo! Yippee! Amazing. He walked away. So now his brother's addicted to something that the doctor's, oh, it's 10 times worse than heroin. You'll never get off this. So somebody's going to be awful happy for a lifetime prescription of something ridiculously expensive that made it worse. You'd rather kick the heroin. If he knew what he was getting into, he'd have tried to kick the heroin, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Now, the reason we call him Super Dave, Dave took my suggestions to the extreme. On this, there's a trampoline in the gift pile tonight. This, next. How many of those inverted tracks do you like to do if you're on a good day?
400 at least.
In my backyard, there's an electric wire way up in the yard. We have a trampoline in the back. How far? It's 17 feet off the trampoline. Now, he can jump on that trampoline and grab that electric wire in the backyard. Okay? That's a 17-foot jump off the trampoline. This guy is in chiseled shape. I'll put him up against any one of you guys in this crowd for being in shape, doing 3 things. The inverted track, the trampoline, and I taught him how to use hand weights on the trampoline. And this guy will out-push-up you, he'll out-sit-up you, he'll out-jump you, he'll outrun you, and he's taken these 4 exercises to the extreme, and he's in about as good a shape as anybody out there for strength and endurance on 3 or 4 simple exercises. Okay, thank you, Super Dave. Go back to your, the little phone booth. Now I get to the fun stuff that I want to do. I'm going to change the way you think today quite a bit. more than you're used to. Today, the whole point of this is, with the oddities of the times, the economy, healthcare, jobs, pensions. It's getting kind of interesting out there, is it not? So the point is, we have to save some money, right? Got it. Okay, so got it. Here we go. This is the fun part. This is the part I wanted to get to. Now, after having, these 40, 50,000 patients being tortured for 25 years, I never wanted to be a doctor. So that's why I was pushed into this. It worked out. The good Lord blessed me and opened my eyes because I really couldn't do things. When I got out of school, I was watching the way things were going. I went, this is crazy. I said, I've never seen anything so criminal in my life. When I got out, I bought the program, thought they were looking out for us, thought the doctors were doing the best good. Really believed the story. I kind of believed it, years ago. Geez, if I had an education. If I had an education. Tonight, you're going to get a little piece of that education. I promise you, you will think differently when I'm done tonight. Today, I got all these files here. This is a good one. Now, I have to say one thing about this sunlight thing before I do this. I'm glad you woke up because I'm using you, Gloria. You were sleeping. I won't hold the sleeping against you. What time were you in today? 4 o'clock? She was in today 4 or 5 o'clock. Listen to this. She was shocked at this. On 11/3/05, she came in and said, I'm waking up at night. I'm anxious. I'm stressed. My heart's racing. My blood pressure's up. And I said, well, well, you know what the little white old ladies look like? You guys know what that looks like. White old ladies. That grandma looked just like that, just pale as a ghost. You stay out of the sun, you're going to die. Put you on 9 cataplex D. You were in today. This is your first visit since your racing heart all night. How long did that take your heart to stop all those symptoms on, 9 times 3,600 units of vitamin D?
It took 1 day, and you told me that in 3 days I would feel better, and I did. And I could feeling better every day ever since.
She said it took 1 day to have all her blood pressure, heart symptoms stop. 1. You folks that have those nighttime symptoms, they will play a million medications on you. Your buddy at GM is one of those. Vitamin D. That's turned him right around. I said, Blank, have you ever seen the sun? He said, no. I go to work at 7. I come home at 7. I miss it all the time. That changed his complete life, Mr. K. So 1 day. And you'll play medication on this the rest of your life, and I'll guarantee you you'll be on 6 by the time you're done because you'll never figure it out. 1 day. Okay, it's fun, some of these things. There's some patients out there. This crowd, as burnt out as I am after all these years, what I'm going to show you tonight is things that I kind of enjoy. So there's a few things that I enjoy in this job, despite I can't stand a lot of it because the public is just brutal today. And there's some things that keep me hanging in there, and you'll watch today. I'm going to show you some. I mean some real ones. This is big time. Now, I got to follow this last lecture up. You remember the gal that was on stage last time with the cane and the MS? And I said, there's something she didn't say. Now, Nancy, you get a free ride today. Where are you? Nancy? Nancy? Where? I can't see. There. Just raise your hand. You don't have to do anything. Raise your hand. How many people remember the lady last time that took the adjustment? When she came in as a patient, she had, and I told you, how many people remember her? I said to her, I think you have a problem with the heavy metal. How many people remember that? I said that live. How many people remember that? When she came in as a patient, you know what it said in her file, which confirmed it, everything? She's on Aricept. Aricept is Alzheimer's medication. She's 45. What does that tell you? You got a metal problem. If you're having a memory issue at 45, there's the hair analysis on the lady I pulled out of the crowd. And that is, what a clue. You start taking Alzheimer's medication at 45, you better check to see what's inside your head. She's doing great. How much weight have you lost? She only lost 60 pounds since the last lecture. She's pulling all the heavy metal stuff out of her. She's got a job. She's getting her life back. And It's a turnaround. And all your friends have been bragging up how good you're doing, too. I heard about that today. Walking in and out of these rooms, walking in and out of these rooms, in and out of these rooms. These videos are playing for the patients that know that. The videos are playing. So I saw your face on about 3 of those videos. About 3. I'm just sitting there just like that. Looking just like that. And I know, sitting here at all these lectures, she's watching this thinking, do you think I could be lucky enough to have one of those things he talked about? Come on up here. This gal, she's 35 years old. She supposedly had MS for how many years? 9 years? 9 years of MS. They want her on medication. Come on up here. She's been adjusted by the chiropractors. How many people realize how important an intelligent adjustment is? Lots of you had some crummy ones, but intelligent ones are a whole different ballgame. How many adjustments do you think you've had in your life before me?
Before you? Probably 3. Maybe
3?
4. As far as I remember.
As far as you remember. She's 35. This is what she said. Left side numbness, hands, fingers, legs, and toes. Do they want you on medication, the Copaxone, the Avonex?
Avonex, Beta-Serum.
How much is Avonex? Anybody, you guys can help me here? How much? $1,500 a shot. How long will they do that till?
Rest of your life.
$1,500 a month? And they'll do that till you die, correct? They'll tell you, we're going to give you these injections till you die, your whole life. We don't think it's going to help you get better, but we think it'll help you keep from getting worse. Right?
Maybe.
Is that true? Maybe.
Works for some, not for others. Very.
I've never seen it honestly work for anybody, but so they want $1,500 injections on her a month. I've seen it weekly. I've seen it daily. I got daily injections at $1,000 a pop. So I checked her out. Next, I had to do, her brainstem was pinched, just like I kind of thought it was going to be. And she did not come to me because her neck hurt. Nothing to do with neck pain. You folks that think adjustments have something to do with pain, well, there's a whole row of people that had no pain when they came in to see me. They were out so many years ago. You folks, I don't like to be adjusted. I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, most of you never had a real adjustment. You guys all know that now. Did you ever have a real adjustment before? Not like that.
I had one now.
She had one now. I grabbed her brainstem, and I jerked that head so hard, and jerked it off her stem. Next slide. She quit dragging her foot. Her whole left side of the body came back. Her eye popped open. Her vision's improving, and her numbness is gone. That was just from a stem being pinched. I'm talking, these are $100,000 lifetime cases in a couple of years. These are $1 million cases over your life. How much has this changed from a simple, idiotic adjustment?
Changed a lot because I had a couple of other episodes that were not related. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Right there.
adjustment,
No
right.
adjustment on that one.
What did you ask?
What did I ask? If you ate dinner tonight or you had a carbohydrate load.
Yeah, I did actually. Thank you. I had a Slim Jim
You got
Big
that
Boys.
pancake brain going, so I can tell we've had some French toast today.
No, I wanted that, but I didn't have eggs.
Okay, got it, girl. Have to watch these kids in school, but yes, I asked about how things are going with this whole mess.
Much better now because I had 2 episodes that were not from MS, but nobody could tell me that until I went and saw Dr. Tent.
And her x-ray, when you looked through her mouth on her x-ray, her atlas was so dislocated against her brainstem, all the chiropractors kind of missed this, and she saw people that I know very well. No, nobody ever got this even close to being right. But it was so textbook, I gave her a copy of her x-rays to show it. How many people just show those to?
Everybody that walks in, plus my family and friends.
Yeah. Now this is the lady who works for Millennium, the PDCM company. I want to thank them for the minerals that they donate. When you call Millennium, this is who you'll be talking to on the phone. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, and we have something for you.
We have something
I'm
for
sorry,
me.
we have something for you.
As long as you mention Millennium.
Okay, this is the president of Millennium.
You know, we've been associated with Randy and really most of you folks for about 10 years.
Close to the mic. That's all.
Been associated with a lot of you folks out here too for about 10 years, which has been an honor for us. And attending his lectures and watching how he's touched all of our hearts and our souls as well as our physiology, over these years. From those that are here just for the first time to those that have been coming for 25 years, it's always a thrill to sit in the audience and watch this. And then for us to participate as far as providing the minerals that we all use to keep our bodies healthy. And as Randy kind of says all the time, we are responsible for our own health. And we are all here because we're seeking that information where all these other people are out there watching TV and getting sick and going to doctors taking drugs. So in the midst of all this chaos and our responsibility, I just wanted to offer Randy a little token of our appreciation for this, because in the shadows that we seek for our health, there's someone who's a guiding light to lead us to our health. And on behalf of us at Millennium Natural Health and all of you out here, I got this award for Randy.
Wow.
Let me just read this for you. It says, presented to Dr. Randy E. Tent, D.C., ND, Ph.D., on December 7th, 2005, to commemorate the CD publication of Kill the Cravings, America's Mineral Crisis, and in recognition of his continuing achievement in advancing the health of others, presented by Vincent Salva, CEO of Millennium Natural Health. And Randy, this is for you.
Thank you.
Our great appreciation.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
A real quick aside, we tried to get a photo of Randy. No one had one. So can you imagine trying to get a candid shot of this guy in his office? We're running this way with the camera, running this way with the camera. Then he's on his bouncer. So finally we got him to sit still long enough, so I did get a photo a few weeks ago. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. If I ever got paid what I was worth, I would have retired 15 years ago. So I have to work this hard. I don't rake the insurance companies over the calls. They never even bothered me because I charge too little. And that's exactly why I have to work hard. I could jack the prices up real high, just have chose not to. Mom and David, I want these two up here. Dad, no, I want you because of what you said today. Please, because you said something cool today. This is a great one. I love what you said. That made my afternoon. 8-year-old boy has had crossed eyes since he's 22 months old. Remember, she didn't come for neck pain. He didn't come for neck pain. His eyes are crossed. She comes to these lectures and goes, well, this is kind of, he looked just like Shaq. Now, there's been somebody else in the news who's got an atlas, but I'm going to let him keep it. Who is it? He's having a fight with our Attorney General right now. Take a look at his eyes when he's looking straight at you. He's going to keep that atlas, though. I'll guarantee you he's keeping that one. They bring this kid, 28, 205, glasses, just boom, just both eyes. I had to give him a real adjustment, not a phony one. Next visit, he walks in, he threw his glasses away, they're done. The teacher cornered her, and she said, what do you think of my son? And she said, well, you're not going to believe what happened. And then she explained the adjustment, and what did the teacher say to you?
She said to me, would he see my daughter?
Would he see my daughter?
And then she announced to me that her daughter was an adult. And I said, you'll have to check with Dr. Tent, but I'm sure he would see anyone that has an issue.
Now, I really wanted her up here today. One adjustment, his eyes are straight done, it's over. I'm afraid to get near him. I won't even walk by him because I'm afraid it's going to go the other way. I have not touched him a second time. His whole left side has stayed. Now, for you folks that wonder why some of these are easier than not, your atlas and occiput don't have a disc between them. You dislocate on that brainstem, you jerk that thing back in place, you guys can have some quick home runs. You disc patients and you worn out back patients, those are totally different stories. Now today, she was in one of my last, came in as one of my last patients, went out to dinner and came here. She had to call Blue Cross about an issue, about a chiropractic network thing, because there was a problem at work and coverage and stuff. So she called this Blue Cross lady today, and they said, well, this guy's not in the network. And she said, this is a cool little story, you'll like this. Tell them that conversation you had with Blue Cross recently about me.
The administrator of our department at work put me on the line with the Blue Cross people because I was questioning how the insurance works with out-of-network chiropractic, because we now have an in-network chiropractic. And the lady at Blue Cross indicated to me that I could find another doctor. And I said, no, that wouldn't be possible, that I wouldn't see anyone but Dr. Tent. The lady in our administrative department said, yes, that's correct. My parents have been seeing him for almost 25 years. All of my friends and family go to him. And I have a staff meeting. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
That was Blue Cross. And you said he has impeccable reputation.
Yes.
Impeccable reputation. They don't know me that well. Thank you, David, for coming up here. Now, the point. Now you think I'm kidding. I'm sitting there, I don't know, Wednesday night, August 3rd, 2:05, this lady walks in. So I'm sitting there, she's 53. I walk in the room, she's diagnosed with a stroke. Okay, mild stroke in February, and I looked at her, she didn't have a stroke. Also diagnosed with basilar artery stenosis. He ain't even sharp enough to know what that is. Narrowing of the arteries, dropped to the ground 5 times. She collapses. Where'd you collapse at? Come on up here for a second. I'll talk, don't stress out. This gal, this is her story. Tell them about passing out or whatever you did, dropping to the ground. Talk into that, please.
I would just be walking or standing.
Talk into this.
I'd just be walking or standing and just
Collapse.
collapse with no warning.
How many doctors did you go to?
4.
4? What kind of tests did they run? Just listen to this.
MRIs, CAT scans, EKGs.
Yes. Anything that you can hold still for. Keep going. X-rays.
Echo something.
Echo
X-rays,
something. Something.
Everything.
Everything. Everything. So they just hold still. They'll run it till your insurance won't cover it anymore and say, see, in 6 months, we'll start her up again. So I looked at her. All right. This is for you, sweetheart, too. This is the same kind of a thing. Come on over here. So here, I walk in the room. Come on over here. I'm going to show you what I did. Put her arm out. Now, you doctors out there, these doctors sneak around to watch me all the time. In fact, you went to a doctor that said he could do what I did, and that didn't happen. Your father went to somebody, so I can do whatever Kent does. Well, that didn't happen either. So I'd like to find these guys sticking their foot in their mouth, which they did. Hold tight. Check her arm. On this, we'll have those any place. I don't know if that's up here. A picture of that reflex chart. Okay, if she had a stroke, watch. 1 carotid, boom, 2nd carotid. So I did that. Well, her stroke reflex is quiet, so I kind of ruled that out first. She's been like that for a year and a half. She's 57. Now, I checked her right arm. Boom, strong. I got to look at your file to remember exactly what in the heck I did, because I don't remember. That's that. These 2 out of the way. I got to check what side it was on, because you're fixed, so I got to know where that is. There. This is her official file. What side was it?
Left arm and leg went down.
It was your left arm, left side. I had to remember what side it was because she's fixed, and I forgot what side it was. So I checked her right arm, boom. Her left arm, whoosh, she's shot. All right, I laid her on her back, checked her right leg, left leg was shot. Spun her around, did, hold tight, positive, negative, checked her right eye, strong. Retina detachment, bad eyeball. So her arm went down, the left eye was negative. The left arm was weak, the left leg was weak. I said, I don't think you had a stroke. She said, but I've had all the scans and the tests and the brains and the MRIs and the echo and the EKG and ABCs and CIAs and OEOs. I said, your brain stem is pinching your atlas. She said, what do you mean? I said, what's your brain? Remember, I know you people hate to be adjusted. These people didn't come in with neck pain. This is how far out of place they've been, how long they've been like this. Think about what you're like when you're really in pain. I had to give her that kamikaze, the same one you got. Now, this is the point of the story. The same adjustment you got, the same one you got. Now I'm on a stroke. I got a cross eye here, I got an MS there, and I got a stroke here. That's just one bone being out. What's C2 like? What's C4 like? Adjustments are the most powerful thing, and most of you never had one, and most of you had crummy ones most of your life. Find somebody that can adjust. Going through the National Hockey League was depressing. 40 years of chiropractic, and I just had my first adjustment. I heard that all day. That's extremely disappointing to me. I want to see things move along. What taught me how to adjust was how to test. I learned this first. So when you get those little tink-weeny adjustments, it's still out. But we'll do it 5,000 times to get it there. No, you're not going to do it. I don't got this kind of, I got a life I'm trying to lead. So I laid her down, jerked her neck. Was that a colossal? Oh, that surprised you? Just that scare you a little bit? Scared the crap out of you, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Now, I said, you're done. You're done. She goes back. Now, go back to the medications. Look at this. Look at this. Plavix, Lipitor, now Nadolol, whatever that's a beta blocker, Paxil, of course she's depressed, she's got this boob for a doctor. Lasix, Lanacepril, they don't even know what they're treating. They missed this by 201 miles. So I jerked her neck in place and said, you're fixed. She goes back to her doctor and says, I don't think I had a stroke. He goes, we got to run that MRI again and see what happens. Now she called, they had the MRI, and the guy goes, oh my God, your artery's open. Your stroke's gone. It's the Three Stooges. I've never felt so good in my life. How much does this medication cost for like a lifetime? Let's do this for 40 years. Then we'll have the kidney problems because the kidneys will be trashed. Then we can start maybe dialysis if you're lucky. Your BUN starts to go up, your creatine goes up. That's kind of nice. What they've done to these people is criminal. Do you think this guy called and said, hey, you know, I've been doing this all day? That is what, and how many times have I adjusted you? A couple times? Yeah, done. Are you finished with all your pills? Did he help you get off this stuff?
I did it myself.
See, I didn't have to tell her. She did it herself. Most of you would have continued to take that till Larry Moe and Curly gave you his blessing. Think for yourself. I'm ashamed of the people letting other people think for them. Stick your head in gear and start thinking. You follow the lemmings off the cliff, one after the other. I'm ashamed. I'm 48 years old. I've done it since I was 23. I can't believe what they've done to you. I'm speechless. What about that bird flu, Dr. Tent? How many people remember the swine flu? I was around for that. My brother got the swine flu shot. He was sick for 2 weeks. That's his problem. That's what started everything. Thank you for coming up here. I appreciate it. Yes.
I'd just like to thank Dr. Tent for changing my life. And if anybody is skeptical like I was, please go and see Dr. Tent. Don't hesitate. And I promise you, he will fix you.
How many years were you told to come and see me? That was kind of interesting. She was told to come and see me for 5 years. All this went on over the 5 years, and I fixed her. It was like a day. Now, over life, you won't have to watch that atlas every 8 to 10 weeks because it sat out most of her life. Most of you are out still as you're sitting there, and your pain disappeared because pain fibers, thank God, go away quickly. It's like smelling perfume. You smell it for 10 minutes, and you can't smell it after 15 minutes. Your pain fibers fatigue just the same. You dislocate your neck, you take 1,000,000 Advil, the pain goes away, your neck's all dislocated, and I can just watch you walk down the street. I can watch you walk to a restaurant, I can watch you walk to the mall. It's like, how long has your back been out? Forever. Does your back hurt? Oh no, I always walk like this. I know. 61 years old. Diagnosed with MS. Patient has numbness on the left side of the body. Was originally called a stroke. We're back to the stroke thing again. When the numbness started, had an episode 93. This is since 89. Lost ability to speak for a short time. That's Capaxone. How much is Capaxone? Help me with this. How much was it? $900 a month. $900 a month. $1,200 a month. Do I hear $1,500? Now, I really like this gal. This gal played all the right buttons in my head. Come on up here, sweetheart. She played, you did all the right things. So this is $1,200 a month. This is since '89. That's for one of the pills. That's just one of them. Coumadin, Topril, there's a beta blocker. You talk about weaken somebody's muscles that has trouble walking. Come on. That's the stupidest thing you could do. Weaken somebody's muscles that has trouble walking. Then put them on Lipitor, or one of those things. Then she's on a Vista. The last thing you want to take if you had a stroke is a Vista, because that's a clot generator. You know what the package is? Who takes a Vista out there? Anybody? I'm not yelling at you. You can take it all day. The package insert says, don't sit still. You'll have a clot. It says move frequently. So you have to move if you're taking a Vista, because if you sit for a couple hours, you'll have a stroke, and it says that in the literature. Move around a lot. Keep moving. So we got a clot generator, Synthroid, a beta blocker, a blood thinner, and Capaxone. Holy Toledo. Since '89, All right, next visit. Adjusted her atlas, her brain stems, pinched again, a different one. These are all new patients. None that's gone on the left side. It's gone. My MS and my stroke disappeared. How long did it take you to walk from all the baloney they had on you?
Walk?
Well, to leave it behind.
About 6 months.
Since
Took about 6 months to get my walking back.
1989, one adjustment. I've adjusted her about 3 times. That kind of medication for a lifetime is extremely debilitating. How are you feeling today?
Oh, wonderful.
I'm so proud of how she walked from the doctor and said, look, I don't care about your shots. I don't care about your injections. I'm done. Did you think you had this the whole time or not?
Oh, I don't think I had MS the whole time.
No. Thank you for coming up here. I appreciate that. Simple stuff. Now, the question I have, when you lose your health insurance, which we're all doing, I don't have any to lose, so I could care less. I'm not going through the stuff these people went through. I want to see somebody that I want to see if I'm sick. They're not going to force me to see somebody who can't speak English. They can do something to me that I don't want them to do. I want to talk. I want to clear. And if I'm sick, same thing. If I can't speak to you, I think you're going to have a little complaint about that, and I would expect you to. No mono. All I put her on was Cataplex B and the essential fatty acids to repair her cord. You want to use cord repair after. Nothing else. I got a lot of stuff, gifts to give away, so I ought to get moving, don't I? Laura, is that you? I think that's you. I got the wrong one. Robin, Gloria, that's the last one. Not today. You don't be stoned yet. She's seen it. All these people have been seeing chiropractors, so it's kind of important.
For 2 years.
2 years, chiropractor. Here we go. Copaxone again. Copaxone, Imitrex, and Valium. Well, Valium will help you walk better if you got MS. That'll help you. Now, next. This is an atlas. Her left side of the body was an atlas. She had a slip disc in your neck, too, which I did add to that. That's an Epstein-Barr. That's a virus attacking her cord. That's what it's like to have mono cause MS. She has a virus and her neck's out. How's life been going for you? Pretty good?
It's been much better. Much better.
She was a patient on 10/27. October 27th is when she was a patient for the first time. These are all new patients. So is your health, I know what else do you have? Anything else to say about this mess? Over here by the microphone, or they'll yell at us. Yes.
I have a pretty loud one.
Go for it. Just let her fly.
Since I've seen Dr. Tent 3 times, and I have more energy than I have had in years. I was diagnosed with MS 2 years ago, but I had my first attack 3 years ago. I went completely paralyzed. I had to be hospitalized for 4 days where they gave me Salumedrol, which he's not a big fan of either. But it did give me relief and brought back some feeling, but the feeling in my hands hasn't come back. I'm still a work in progress. The feeling in my hands is not back yet. But we have great hopes, and with Dr. Tent's help and God's, I think that we'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good one. Next. This is a good one. I would have brought this guy. He can't talk in front of anybody. This guy's 50 miles from a road in Alaska, from the nearest road. He's 50 miles. They're making a pipeline or something. They're using a sledgehammer and a spike. He's sitting out there. This guy misses the spike, hits him right here with the sledgehammer. Boom! They had to airlift him to Anchorage by some kind of medevac copter. They fused his neck together because his headaches were so bad. They thought, well, we'll just fuse your whole neck together. So they fused his whole neck together. He wakes up. His headaches are identical. I had to lay him down, and adjusting that old boy, holy Toledo. I don't even want to see him come through the door. I had to jerk his neck in place. He lives in Arizona. He sold his home and moved back because I was the only one that could put his neck in place. His brother sits on the board at Blue Cross. That's John Hamilton. His brother had migraines for 50 years old, had migraines since he was 5, since the fall. Kind of remember when that doctor gave me the shot. I've had headaches ever since I had that vaccine as a kid. He knew exactly when he got it. This is probably my favorite one. I want you to pay close attention to this. Very close attention. Come on up here, young lady. This is my favorite one. You're probably the favorite one in the pile, you and Herman. Now, she walks in on November 16th. It's the first thing in the morning. Her and her husband, I want your husband up here too, because you're a witness to this whole thing. You witnessed everything. I get up, it's first thing in the morning, I leave the house, I walk in, I picked up my file. Patient class was paralyzed from the waist down for 3 months. I looked at her, I said, I don't want to do this first thing in the morning. Don't you got like a neck pain or something? This is kind of complicated for the first thing in the morning. She's paralyzed. How would that paralyzation start? Explain what happened to you that day. The first day when you collapsed or whatever it was that happened.
It was a year ago, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I woke up and I started walking around the house and I fell to the floor, completely paralyzed from the waist down. I thought I had a stroke.
Okay. And then now the doctors, what tests have you had? Listen to this, it gets better.
2 MRIs, 2 CAT scans, EEG, lumbar, I don't know what they call it, lumbar spinal tap with the dye that they shoot through your back, everything that imaginable that they could do.
Look at this file. I walked in, I looked at this file. I want you doctors paying attention. Just pay attention. I looked at this file. I looked at her. Looked at this file. I said, oh boy, this is going to be a good one, didn't I? Mm-hmm. I left the room, and what did I do? Pulled the staff in. Everybody come in here. Who wants to see something cool today? I called this before I did it. Now, I taught her a cardinal rule. I taught her Dr. Tent has a special rule. See, right there, it says cardinal rule right there. I looked at her and I said, does this make any sense to you? And you said?
No.
I said, I'm going to teach you something, a Dr. Tent rule. What is it? When a disease makes no sense, what do we know?
It's caused by the doctors.
I read this doesn't make any sense. How about when my mother-in-law calls me about Miranda. What was her symptoms? Her joints were swollen. She had a rash. What else? Help me with that, because I was, huh? Her whole body hurt. Her whole body, all her joints were swelled up. She had a rash. She was complaining. And so my mother-in-law calls me and says, what do you think's wrong with Miranda? They're going to rush her to the hospital and do the MRI, the CAT scan, the echocardiogram. My gosh, they just rolls off their tongue. Next one's MRI, CAT scan, echocardiogram. So she called me and said, look, they're just going to poison her, and I know you can probably figure this out. What did I say to her? I said, it doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. I said, what medication is she taking? Oh, she's been on an acne medication for 2 weeks. Okay, that's what did it. Before you even go any further, stop the acne medication. So by the time they got to the hospital, I don't know if they went through the rigmarole or not.
Refused to test the medication.
They wanted to run every test, but they wouldn't test the medication. They refused to, and that was the cause of it, so they don't want to check it. They want to find something else that makes more sense or more money or something. So finally, after 1 million tests, well, we think it's the medication. Okay. So this guy, I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you. You watch exactly how this went. You're going to learn something. This makes no sense. Look at that. Her clue's right there. It's all right there. If you're a doctor for any length of time, it's right there. Can I have you lay on your back for a second? I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to show you what we did. And this gal, I'm going to show you, she's walking. She walks up. This is how she walks in my office. I never saw anybody walk like this. Correct? Is that about right? Yes. I don't want to exaggerate. I never saw anybody walk like this. This doesn't make any sense, so I know a doctor caused it. Okay? How old is she? She's 43. So I went here, and I went, watch. I wish this thing stuck here. Wish I could get this out of the way for some of you folks. It's in the way. It's all taped to the floor. And this thing comes off. All things. I lifted up her left leg, watch, hold tight, and I pushed down. This was cool. Today was her second visit. I said, how long you been praying for this? She said, I've been praying for this with everybody, and they come from Lansing. How long you been praying for this?
For over a year.
And you said, how many friends are praying with you?
All my friends are praying with me.
I knew what this was in 15 seconds, so I think she prayed herself into the answer. So I lifted this leg up, and this leg is dead, like that. So in front of him and her, in front of my staff, I said, isn't this interesting? Remember the stroke reflex? Watch. I walked up and said, well, let's see what happens here. I shut her stroke reflex off just like that. That's all I did. I lifted up her leg, hold tight, and it did that. Just like that. A dead leg came back to life, just like that. I looked at that. I said, sweetheart, do you really want to know what will happen if I turn that reflex back on and I lift up her leg? It's dead. Nothing to it. Dead. She can't even hold it. She can't even lift it up. That's how dead it is. But if I shut the stroke reflex off, no doctors know. I learned this technique like 30 years ago. Nobody's seen this. Nobody does it. I'm a weird anomaly, so you better protect me if you want me to continue to do this. Nobody knows how to do this stuff. I'm telling you, shut this off, lift your leg up, hold tight, and it's back. I said, oh, this is good. I called my staff in first thing in the morning. This is how my day gets all monkeyed up. And she said, what's the matter? I said, you want to know the truth? She said, yes. I said, you got a clot in your brainstem from your Depo-Provera shot. She threw a clot into her brainstem. How do you know that? Because I've done this for 30 years. I didn't need 12 MRIs, 6 MRIs, 12 EKGs, 2 echoes, and 16 pills. I put her on 13 bromelain, 13 Ceruloplas. She had a complete obstruction in her cord, the 2 things to repair a cord. That was on a Monday?
Wednesday.
A Wednesday? She called me Friday and said, my limp's gone. 2 days. 2 days. 2. That was cool. You have to learn how to use intracellular scavengers to digest things hidden deep in the body. I used pineapple stem to dissolve that clot out of her brain stem. How many people have been shocked? This is their second visit was tonight, and that limp has about disappeared. That's what it's like. I knew. Go back to that one. You got to think. That Depo-Provera shot right there did it. I just looked at that and said, I'll bet you she threw a clot from that pill. Done. That was what I was proud of. I was extremely happy. That's the kind of stuff that will keep me going because that was fun to do. She had no chance with this forever. Did you fire your other doctor yet? Is he gone?
I'm done.
Thank you for driving from Lansing for this. Man, it gets even better than this. You ready? It gets better than that. That's nothing. It gets worse. Now I'm going to tell you the worst one of the day. You want the worst one? Mr. McLean, come on up here. This is painful. There he is. Now, who's been hosed the most? Herman. Herman's been, they took this guy to the cleaners. Now, I want everybody to pay attention to this specifically. This is very important. Very important. They tell this guy, they treat him like he's got AIDS. He's got AIDS. He don't got AIDS. Since 1986, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 medications. And he don't have it. Being HIV positive has nothing to do with AIDS. Nothing. It never has. Ever. If I or my wife was HIV positive today, I would not give a second thought to it. It means nothing. Check your body to see what you're carrying. Laura, I see you back there. Stand up for a second. You had a heart operation when you worked for me. 7 people gave blood, remember? How many checked positive for hepatitis? 3 out of 7. 3 out of 7. Does that mean they had it? No. They were exposed to it. It means nothing. Nothing. This guy comes in since 86. This is us taxpayers are paying $15,000 a month for those medications since 1986. And they multiply this times a couple 100,000 people in this country. the pharmaceutical industry is taking us for a complete ride. If you stay on those pills, he's losing his weight, he's getting sick, and he's falling apart. He's losing weight. That's what's killing him, the pills. How much weight have you gained since we stopped the pills?
22 pounds.
22 pounds. Watch. Watch. It gets better. Put the next one on. This is all he did. 19 Cerulita Plus, 6 bio-FCTS, and 5 lysine. Next file. I said, now look, they're going to tell you, what did I tell you they're going to tell you? Tell me what, watch, listen to this.
Dr. Ted told me he was not going to tell me to go back to the doctor to see him, but if I did go, they would probably tell me I had asthma, emphysema, bronchitis, or pneumonia.
So he goes back, they stick him in the hospital, and they tell him you have emphysema, bronchitis, and asthma. Just like that, right on cue. So now, it's like his third appointment was in today. Put the next slide up. Huh? Oh, no, next slide. Short of breath. I told him, He comes in today. Today he has an appointment this morning. He is supposed to go back to his doctor today. And he's hooked up to all this crap. Show him what you're hooked up to. He got leads everywhere. Echo, he got hoses all over him. Leads, echoes. Now, why did they do this to you? Come on up here and tell them why they did this to you. Listen to this.
They ran tests and said they couldn't find anything wrong with my breathing and everything, so they wanted to hook me up and see could they find something. So they did.
They said, you're so much better, we don't know why. We can't figure out why you're well. Since 1986, 15 medications, Muhammad Ali, or not, Magic Johnson's fat because he quit the pills. Now listen, every single person on antiviral medication dies. Every person on antiviral medication dies. It's going to kill you. Why? It terminates the synthesis of DNA. Do you think that pill's smart enough to know where you start and the virus stops? No. That's why Magic's fat. He doesn't take anything. Everybody that's taking it gets thin and dies. Lou says to me, what about Africa? Okay, I'd love to talk about Africa. You remember a couple years ago, you older folks, what were they dying of? Starvation. We have to send Africa food because they're starving. I'm going to put 100 starving people over here and 100 people with AIDS over here. I'm going to take 100 Nobel Prize winners. Here's a sign, starving AIDS. You go one by one, you can't see what the other guy did, you put a sign up in front of who you think is who. When I get done, 50 will be in front of the starving, 50 will be in front of the AIDS ones. Now remember, they all look the same. So the people that were starving and dying from malnutrition, instead of sending them food, now they're classified as a disease. So the IMF comes to me, the taxpayer, takes $500 million out of my pocket to vaccinate people who are starving. They used to be now they have a disease. Nothing's changed. It's the same group of people. You could never spot one. This is the biggest coup in history. They just whacked everybody. Everybody. And he was one of the victims. AIDS and HIV ain't in the same arena. HIV is a benign virus. Has nothing to do with what you think it has to do with. Where's that next slide? Africa needs anal sex awareness. That anal sex could be a major cause of the AIDS epidemic. That's exactly what caused it. You can't tear the rectum and put semen into the bloodstream. It shuts the immune system off. However, HIV experts reject the findings, maintaining that vaginal sex is the main route of transmission for the AIDS virus. That's nonsense. Complete, unequivocal nonsense. Unbelievable. He's at a VA hospital. Does that help at all? A VA hospital? What has your doctor said to you about the health? I've done this in 2 months with the guy. What has the doctor said about your progress?
They can't believe it. They just say they want to find out what's wrong, what's going on.
Since '86, homosexuals and promiscuous homosexuals and IV drug users have died the same forever. The same. It never changed. They've handed you a complete farm. It's unbelievable what just took place. And so now I have to put the whole world on medication because you got AIDS now. Totally ridiculous. Tell me what's the difference between the way they used to be. Instead of giving them sandwiches, I got to give them drugs. So this guy feels the best he ever felt, quit all those medications, and I asked him. He was supposed to go back and have all that crap taken off today. I said, could you tell the doctor you're sick and wear all the crap to the meeting for me? And he did. Thank you.
Thank you. Say something?
Sure. Go for it.
I first would like to thank Dr. Tent. I was told 2 years ago to come in and see Dr. Tent, but I was afraid because people do reject you if they find out this and that and stuff, and we are all human. So I was afraid, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to see another doctor. I've seen too many at the veteran, and they haven't done anything but made me sicker. So this gentleman says to me, just go in and see. He didn't know my condition or what was going on, so I decided about 5 months ago to come in and see Dr. Tent because I had been in the hospital 3 or 4 times this year. And I've got tired of taking the medication and the shots and this and that. And so they said, the nurse, when she came in one night to visit me, she says, are you sure you're taking this medication? Because I wasn't taking it. I started putting it up under my pillow. And so I finally came in. And when I saw Dr. Tent, maybe about 3 to 4 days, I could tell a change in my body. And the doctor says to me, even yesterday when I went, says, Mr. McLean, we're going to do a stress test. We think you're stressed out, so we're going to do that. So they did call today while I was away here with Dr. Tent. They called my home and said, you're under stress and this and that, so we want you to come in. I've got 7 grandchildren. I am a single grandparent. The baby is 6 years old, and I brought my oldest grandson. Kareem, will you stand up, please? He's 15 years old. With 7, thank you. With 7 kids in the house and a single parent, you're gonna be under something, you know. Whether it's alcohol or whatever, you know. So I just wanted to thank Dr. Tent because this is the best I've ever felt, and I just thank God for him because he's really shown me the way. And I wish I had listened to the gentleman that told me 2 years ago to come in and.
How you at now? I've never met. How do you feel that this quack tells your dad that he's going to croak? What's that like to live with for 15 years? This has been since you were born, probably. His whole life, all he knows is Dad's going to die. And they were completely full of poop. You're next. Come on. I don't even have your file. Come on up here. How much of this can I stomach in a day? This is a cop. They said he had MS. He's a deputy sheriff. He didn't give me a ticket yet, so he's okay. He's a deputy sheriff. Tell him I'm proud of this guy because they tried to sell him the farm. He said, I don't have this. How long you been like this situation with your world?
They've told me, I think it go back to when I tested for the road, which is approximately about 20 years ago, maybe 18 years ago. That's what they said my problem was because I was seeing double when I went for my eye test.
Just like David. He'd see double. Didn't you? How many of my atlases would see double once in a while?
But I saw 20/20 though.
20/20.
Just twice.
Yes. Yes. How are you feeling? How's it going?
I saw you today.
Today?
And I told the doctor today, this is the best I felt in 20 years. I mean, I feel
Atlas, Epstein-Barr. Atlas virus. He's back on the track. Thank you for coming up here. I need a ticket help one day. Now, before I have to do one thing before I start to do this giveaway thing. This is important. This is my last case, and I'm going to show how you can get all your presents and stuff. Now, this is why I can get a little chippy. I was chippy. This was a chippy case. I was chippy this day, and I was not happy whatsoever. I come back from lunch, This is where we're sitting there. I pick up the file in the hall, room 6. Patient has migraine headaches across his forehead, asthma symptoms, trouble breathing during exercise, dry cough. This is exactly what you had, Herman. The little kid, he's 11, so they don't tell him he's got AIDS, they just tell him everything else. So I'm reading this, multiple meds. He's been like this, he's 11. He's been like this since he was 6. Now he's 11. He's on Advair, remember that pill I talked about, Zoloft, prednisone on a kid. I don't even know what Omnisec is. That's a new one. Anybody know what that is? That's albuterol. That's what made your brother shake. So I picked this file up, and this just grinded me. I can't take it anymore. Every room. The country's going under from this nonsense. It's broke. And nobody's letting up. They're just turning up the heat. This just grinded my soul. I walked in there. I think this kid's out there somewhere. We're letting him stay anonymous. I looked at this. I picked this file up, and I walked in the room. Now I got an attitude. I got Opie sitting in front of me. Opie. Opie. And I look at this. I got Donna Reed and Opie sitting in front of me right now. I picked up, I said, what is this? And his kid flashes the biggest smile I've seen that day. Everybody snarls. He didn't. The biggest smile that kid flashed to me. I looked at the mom. I looked at him. I said, what's he doing on Zoloft? What's he on Zoloft? Opie. Picture Opie on Zoloft. I went, what's he doing on Zoloft? Well, he's been so sick for so long. He has to sit and watch his friends play outside for his whole life. And he says, if I can't even play out with my friends, I don't want to live much anymore. Packed him up, back to the hospital. Now they get him on another drug. Now he's on Zoloft because he doesn't want to live. He had one friend in his life, a guinea pig. So the doctor, you can't have that guinea pig. You're a bad mother. You've got to get rid of, all he's got is his guinea pig. He makes him get rid of the guinea pig. Now he's got, no, standing out, looking out the window. I just looked at this kid, looked at this mother. I said, that's it. I've made my diagnosis. I'm done. He said, what's the matter? I said, your son's perfectly normal. She said, well, how can you tell? I said, if I had his pediatrician, I'd want to hang myself too. I said, I know. He's got to be normal. Nobody could want to see this yahoo. He's 11. The whole Canton School District, this kid's migraine-free, headache-free, asthma-free. The nurse at the school is going, huh? Everybody's, what did happen? He's running up and down the court playing basketball. He's done. He's off all this baloney. He's fixed, over, done. They're doing this. This is exactly what you had. You should see the diagnoses they're throwing out today. I fixed 10,000 asthmatics. All they have is a virus in their lungs that an antibiotic won't work on. How many times can you watch them? Prednisone. Half these kids, I got to rebuild their joints after the prednisone because they ache head to toe so bad. This one really grinded my little soul. I just had enough of this stuff. Okay, now, they won again. The Staline High School took the lead again by giving those PDCM minerals. How many years, David, are you out there? David Meller, is he out there somewhere? They win every year raising chickens. They beat University of Michigan. They beat everybody. The steroids, he puts a tablespoon of the minerals in the chicken feed. He wins every year. Meller started winning this broiler contest 6 years ago when he took the advice of his chiropractor, Dr. Randy Diversified. He told him, put this mineral in the chicken food. He's beat all the universities every year. They can't figure it out. He puts a teaspoon of minerals in their water. That's it. Nothing more. Every year he wins. First place. And they say, oh, how'd you do it again? I put minerals in. They can't get it through their head. They were using growth hormones, steroids, just some minerals. There's the chickens. He brought one, or turkey, whatever they are. What are they? Birds. Huge. Look at the size of those things. A cap full of minerals. Nothing more. Nothing less. Next. Okay, and this is my giveaway stuff. All right, now I'm going to start the Christmas stuff. This is how it starts. Okay. I have to say one story about Mr. McLean. I'm 24 years old. Quick story, 24 years old. And me and my wife, my dad calls me and says, your grandma's in isolation in Crittenden Hospital. She's got tuberculosis. This is when I used to buy the program like everybody else did. I said, what do you mean Grandma's in the hospital? Grandma Cassie's in the hospital. She's got TB. Oh, gee. So me and Sue, I come home from work. We go all, this is 25 years ago. We go over to Crittenden Hospital. You can't go in there like this. You got to put your isolation suit on. So I put my isolation suit on, and me and my wife walk in. We're standing there like this, looking at Grandma. I said, Grandma, what's the matter? I feel fine. I said, what do you mean? She said, I feel fine. Everything's fine. I said, really? I said, well, what are you in here for? She said, I don't know. I'm fine. I'm not coughing. You coughing? No. You got a fever? No, I'm fine. All right. I looked at her, and she said, I must not be very sick. This is all, why? She said, when the nurses come in and make up my room in the suit, they both take it all off. And they make up the room real fast, but one's looking out the door to see if anybody's coming. Honest to God. Honest to God. Honest to God. I'm looking at her. You mean you're fine? She said, I'm fine. I said, oh my. I looked at my wife. I said, oh my God. I said, she said, what do you think's wrong with me? I said, I know exactly what's wrong with me. She said, what is it? I said, you have General Motors insurance. That's it. Done. They discharged her 30 days later in exactly the same shape she walked in, and that was it. Do you know what 30 days in isolation costs? For nothing. For nothing. Is that true, Dad? There's my dad. That's what he did to his mother. I'm watching her. She had a hiatal hernia, so they gave her a hiatal hernia operation, nicked her spleen, had to jerk that out. Then they had to give her a blood transfusion because she's got no spleen, gave her hepatitis, 6 more weeks in the hospital, and she lost her hearing. Don't you want to be a medical doctor when you grow up? I said, no, I don't think so. I watched what they've done to my family. Unbelievable. That's what they did to Grandma Cassie. Unbelievable. So I got this big pastor that works at the Wixom plant part-time, and he's a pastor. He's got MS on a walker. Comes in just like this. And he said, and he was upset. He was upset about this. He'd been all in neurology, EMGs, CAT scans. He did the whole 9 yards. I said to him, I did a hair analysis. It was terrible. Oh, was he upset when I showed him his hair analysis? You mean to tell me they know that this stuff's in the air, blah, blah, blah? Oh, yeah. In the factory, if you don't take your minerals, I said, young man, if I met you 10 years ago at a party and you told me you worked at the Wixom plant, and I said, do you take any minerals? They'd say, no. Well, you might build a factory in your head from all the minerals that you inhale. Your body will take a deficiency and fill it with whatever it can. You can absorb aluminum, you can absorb lead, you can absorb all kinds of things, fluoride, anything. Lead's easy to absorb if you have no calcium. I looked at this guy and said, if I met you 10 years ago at a party and said, do you work at the Wixom plant? You work with all those metals in the air? Do you take any minerals? Oh, heck, I don't believe in that stuff. Okay, let's see what your body absorbed in its journey. If you have everybody out there, the environment's so toxic, minerals and metals go back and forth. 2 of those and a teaspoon, and that turned my hair dark, and that's what the chickens grew. All I did was put that in the chickens, just that. And he went 6 years in a row from the university. Still don't know how he did it. Today, I block my heavy metals in the environment because I don't want to absorb them. I don't want to look like Reagan when I get older. And I think he had lead poisoning from all the Grecian formula he used, actually. And so we have 10 of those out there. You're going to get a combination of minerals. There's 10 sets of those out there with the tickets. Next. My parents. My dad's proud to be 80 and in great shape. He's in great shape. My mom's a little under that. We'll leave it at that. My parents were over a couple months ago. I said, the whole world's taking aspirin, right? Yep, they're getting blind, they're getting strokes, and aspirin kills as many people every day in the U.S. as, according to AIDS. That's in the Lancet. I have that literature available. That's easy. I said to my parents, all right, you want to do something cool at this age? You take 3. Now, I took today to think that's 2 grams of ginkgo per pill. That's a European, that's an Australian pill. That's a pharmaceutical grade. I have my parents on 3 of those and 3 of those. That's 18,000 milligrams of bilberry and 6 grams of ginkgo. That is the most greatest blood thinner in the world. I said, grow your eyes back, grow your brain back, and keep your blood slippery at the same time. You can't even take that and have an operation because you'll bleed like a stuck pig. Those are professional strength blood thinners. Watch your brain get sharper. Watch your eyes get clearer as you get older. And you don't have to take all that other stuff. I think we have 5 sets of those, correct? Okay, next. I really enjoy, if you ask the Russian athletes, all right? You're playing pro sports, you're in the Olympics, you're in hockey, what do you want? they would all ask for royal jelly. I really like that dynamic trio. I take it personally. I'm 48 years old. I'm broke down. I need energy to get through these miserable long days. That helps me out a ton. It's a 3, 2, and a 1. We have a bunch of those we're giving out. Next. This is to take my green food when they ask me. Remember the kid with the tremors? The mother that hates my guts? The people said, what would you put the kid on? Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale to stop the tremor on a child. It would have taken me a year. I had to open up his liver. If Wellinger was on this, he wouldn't be in court today. If Muhammad Ali was on this, he wouldn't be shaken. You have to learn to control liver detox pathways. Those drugs that block the liver, that opens it up. I know I say 1, I take 2 of those and 4 of those a day. But you say you might take 1. I know, that's my cancer protocol right there. That's what I take. Curcumin and green tea combination stops GF1 and GF2. That is a pharmaceutical grade curcumin and pharmaceutical grade green tea. That is my staple. If you don't have cancer, it's awful tough to get taking that pill. It shuts off GF1, growth factor 1, and GF2. Clean. Sloan Kettering spent $1 billion to try to copy that. We have 10 of those to give away. Next. Catalin, the first vitamin in the history of the world. First, number 1, it's 13 foods. That's considered the benchmark in the industry. It's all food. Everything is food concentrates. And we have those. I've been taking that forever. First vitamin in the history of the world, sold for $6 a bottle back in 1929. Next. Optimal EFAs. Find your favorite oil. Everybody's got an oil. You want to learn to keep your blood slippery. When you see my wife's skin, her skin looks beautiful because she's been on oils forever. You women need your fats and oils. You need all these oils because all those processed foods are killing us. You can offset the hydrogenated oils with enough of the good ones. I drown myself in those oils so I can have my Kentucky Fried Chicken and my White Castle and my cookies. All the cooked stuff on the store shelf is going to kill you. But one thing's good, you can switch the ratio from omega-6s and 9s to 3s. You take a bunch of 3s and you can jerk those oils way back in a ratio. That's very important. We have a bunch of these to give out. My wife will tell you, Linon B6 makes your skin beautiful, and the flaxseed oil kept her rheumatoid arthritis away. You know why my wife's got rheumatoid arthritis? Because when she was a little girl, she had a mini bike injury, and she went to see Curly. And Curly walked in and tried to do a dye study on her knee. He couldn't find the pocket to stick the dye in. So he's cramming dye in her leg, and cramming dye in her leg, and cramming dye in her leg, and cramming dye in her leg. So now her joints bother her. They never did find where to put the dye, but she's got a lot of dye in, so she has a chemically induced rheumatoid, which she can cool off with that. This one makes your skin beautiful. That one stops your joints from hurting. I have my parents on optimal EFAs for the DHA. This tuna oil, you people having children, this is for the old and the young. Old and young. You put your kids on that so they can get out of the basement and not have to live there forever. You put the old people on it because it's for heart arrhythmias. That EPA and heart arrhythmias is huge. We have a bunch of these to give out. Next. Yes, DHA and EPA. That's your big 3s. It's a great thing for kids and old timers. I love all these oils. Chlorophyll complex. The fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, F, and K. Chlorophyll is the perfect cleaner to the body. People say, I want to detox. I detox every day. Detoxification is part of my life. My green food, my Vitanox, my chlorophyll. Done. You have to do nothing else with your life. That's my continual, all the time detoxifier. All the time. It's full of magnesium, A, D, E, F, and K. A wonderful pill. I've been taking that forever. Next. Essential fatty acids. A great essential fat gets you a beautiful tan, etc. Learn your fat. Each one of you has a favorite fat that you'd have to say about which one you like better. Now, I forgot about this. Now, I had 2 patients that introduced me that used the word, this is not me. 2 patients that introduced me used this word, tentaholic. People remember that? So that was a funny, I never heard that word before. Not one. Fred Jacobus said it, and then that Dr. Hogstetter from Paul Ganson said that. So people said that. So now this is the story. Me and Derek and Dylan, my 2 boys, we went to the food court at 12 Oaks. So we're walking, it's a Friday morning, we're walking over there, and understand where I'm coming from with this. We walk up, and there's, you know the people on the short bus? They're on the long bus now. And there's a long bus letting off at the food court. It's loaded with them. The whole, they're just like me. They count just as much in God's eyes as me. But I got to find out, I have trouble with this. Where is all this stuff? Just like you guys, where's this coming from? You can't just, they like this. This is a growth industry. We've got special ed, we've got special classes, special teachers, we got, restraints on the wall, you get extra money from the state. It's a bonanza. This is a growth industry. It's disgusting. So I'm standing in the food court. I got this one shaking next to me. I got one over here drooling on me in the back, and I'm just trying to get my sandwich there. I'm surrounded. I just looked at the kids and said, beam me up, Scotty. They're all medicated around here. That became a catchword. That's on my shirt. And so we actually have some, if you get this shirt, please just consider it a joke. And that came from the patients, and I wanted to be beamed out of there because I thought we were the only 3 left normal in the whole mall. It was just amazing. But I have to question, where are these are deficiencies, fetal alcohol syndrome, and it just keeps on going from there. And I'll tell you, there's some interesting ethnic groups that got to start marrying outside of the family circle. Over here. I'm writing a book. Raise your hand. The gal back's writing this book for me in the back. There she is. My first chapter is the 2 Village Over lecture. And I got 14 chapters done. Wait till you see the 2 Village Over lecture, you'll understand. There's some free blood work out there. A couple of these tickets, you get some free blood panels. You'll know if you got it because the girls will tell you about it. Where am I from here? Pillows. Now, I was supposed to say that these are great pillows, and everybody likes them. I don't use one because with all the stress from all you people, I flop far too much to stay in one spot. When I retire, maybe this will be fine for me, but at this point in time, but everyone that has got one has actually enjoyed these. It's been a hit. We have a bunch of these to give out. Rebounders and inverter tracks. Yes, tape sets. How many tape sets are in there? 10? We got 10 tape sets to give away. Apparently people want to buy these. I don't know why, but they want to buy some of these. Am I done yet? Oh, and this year, try to do something with your Christmas thing. Don't get the stupid tie or something. Try to make it a positive Christmas for everybody. Take care of the less fortunate. Use some quality presents. I got way too much junk, so I'm trying to get stuff for other people. So think about things like that, if you can. Next, my little protocol. I take this stuff every day. Why? I have no health insurance. This is my health insurance, folks. I'm not paying some institution $10,000. I remember they wanted me $8,000 a year with a $10,000 deductible for the 4 of us. I'm like, so I pay the first like $16,000. That's it, eh? I looked at him, I said, are you sure you're talking? Are you thinking clear right now? So if I pay the first $16,000, they'll pay after that. That's ridiculous. So that's basically now. Okay, put that, now you people need to if you see something up here that you want or something interested you, there's our fax number. You can get whatever you want there. Pretty simple. These, now, you ready? Is it the winning tickets next? These are the winning tickets. 301 through 422. That's all you got to do. I want to thank all of you for showing up. I will be back here in 3 months, tortured again.